Hey there, future real estate moguls. Are you ready to start on an exciting journey into the world of investing in family homes? Whether you dream of becoming a real estate tycoon or just want to learn more about investing, this video is perfect for you. Becoming a landlord in the bustling borough of Brooklyn and New York City can be a promising investment opportunity. However, it comes with a host of responsibilities, legal requirements, and best practices that are essential for you to learn if you're going to be successful. In this video, I will provide you with practical information on managing your building with a focus on the guidelines for tenant-landlord relationships, your legal obligations, and the strategies we have learned from our experience over the years managing small family buildings. This video is actually part 2 of House Hacking Jamaican Style, which you can go back and view here. In that video, we spoke about obtaining your first rental home in New York City by purchasing a legal 2-family house instead of a 1-family for your first time home buyer project. Tips about saving for the purchase and other details were given in that house hacking video, and it's a great one to go back and look at because it gives you good strategies to get you started in the business. House hacking is a great strategy to get into the real estate investing business. Financing your primary residence is generally more affordable than getting a loan for an investment property, so it will be easier to start learning this way. You'll have better interest rates and lower down payment. It's also a great way to get used to being a landlord and just living with tenants, because your tenants are literally going to be either above you or are below you, so any issues that arise can be addressed right away, and as a beginning investor, you will learn a lot just from the whole experience. Stay with me towards the end of this video and I will tell you what I think is the best investment opportunity right now in Brooklyn and New York City to start or grow your real estate portfolio. This is Marcia Melendez. Please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and like this video if you find it useful, and comment below any questions I didn't answer for you, anything else you want to learn about the business. Just leave me a comment down below and I will get back to you. Let's dive into the specifics of managing your investment property by first reviewing these crucial legal obligations you will have as a landlord in New York. Compliance with rent stabilization laws. In New York City, many rental units are subject to rent stabilization laws. Landlords must comply with these regulations, which include limits on rent increases and eviction protections for tenants. I don't advise getting involved with a rent stabilized building, however, unless you have experience and time to keep up with the reporting details that's required by the city. Also, you would have to really crunch the numbers and make sure that the building you will provide enough of a monthly cash flow to make the purchase worthwhile. And the rent increases, since the amount of rent and increase percentages are mandated by the city. As a side note, many times when you see a building for sale at a great price or below market value, it's because it is a rent stabilized building and not providing enough cash flow for the landlord. The next thing you need to be aware of are the maintenance and repairs requirements. In the city, landlords are legally required to maintain their properties in a safe condition. This includes addressing repairs promptly, providing essential services like heat and hot water. As a landlord, you should make sure all smoke and carbon monoxide detectors work. There's hot water and heat in the rental at all times. Proper safety equipment is available, such as a fire extinguisher in the hallway. These are all legal requirements. That the property is free from lead-based paint, mold, rodents, roaches, or bedbugs. You will have to sign disclosures to this effect when you rent the apartment to the tenant. Take these maintenance and repair guidelines seriously. It's not worth it for your building to accrue HPD violations for a lack of heat, which is a common complaint in the wintertime, or dangerous conditions in your building, which you will rack up a lot of violations. Security deposits is another legal requirement. Landlords must follow specific rules regarding security deposit, including providing a written receipt and returning the deposit within a specific time. I suggest using the standard Bloomberg form available at most printers or online. It covers all the legal stuff that should be in a lease. We also utilize a one-page document which is attached to the lease and generally gives our do's and don'ts of living in the building. You know, the lease is often not read thoroughly or it's too complicated to really understand. So our document covers the basics, such as when the garbage is collected, no hanging out in front of the building, no bikes or other personal items in the hallways, you know, like your shopping cart, etc., things like that. If you leave a comment below with a request, I will email a copy of this list to you. It's a great attachment to the lease, and I always have the tenant sign it as well. Tenants are entitled to privacy rights, including giving proper notice before you enter their apartment to do any work. Anti-discrimination laws are also very stringent in New York City. You wouldn't believe it, but it is. Landlords cannot discriminate against tenants based on factors such as race, gender, religion, or family status. Let's move on to point number 2, tenant screening and selection. A crucial key to maintaining a successful rental property in Brooklyn and New York City is selecting reliable tenants. That will save you a whole bunch of trouble, believe me. This one could really make or break you. Here are some practices that we have followed. Thorough tenant screening. Conduct thorough background checks on prospective tenants, including credit checks, rental history, and criminal background checks. Choosing the right tenant is crucial if you need more advice in this area and live in the metro area. Send me a message in the comments and I will give you more information about it. You have to have clear rental criteria. Establish what the criteria is and apply it consistently to eliminate any possible chances that you will be accused of discrimination. There is a big push right now to find apartments for unhoused individuals. These used to be called homeless people, but now in New York City, the correct term is unhoused families. There, the city is giving lots of signing bonuses, and they have raised the rents to market rate, which makes it very attractive to rent to some of these families. However, as a realtor, I know a lot of people will say to me, I don't want to rent to anybody that has any programs. Wrong thing. No, don't say that. It could be considered discrimination. If you do not want to rent to a person with a program and you're approached by a stranger, you have to figure out another way of saying it. Otherwise, you could be accused of discrimination. Once again, if you need more information, give me a comment down below so I can bring you up to speed on that. As mentioned before, we also go one step further with the lease process and itemize in the Word document the tenant's do's and don'ts, and also what late fees are due for overdue rent. Item number 3 is very important because it concerns the maintenance and safety of your building. To maintain good tenants and a safe building, you need to prioritize property maintenance and safety. I never understand why some owners don't maintain their buildings in good condition. If you don't maintain it now, your property will not appreciate, and you will definitely lose money once you try to sell it. My favorite saying is, fix it now or suffer the consequences later. With proper maintenance, you will have reduced tenant turnover, a reduced number of emergency repairs. You'll extend the life of your flooring, appliances, and the apartment fixtures. The city requires these safety measures also. You have to maintain a functioning smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and fire extinguishers are required by law. This is my recommended maintenance checklist. Every month, check for pests and exterminate if necessary. This also allows you to enter the tenant's apartment on a regular basis to see if they are maintaining it in a good condition and to make sure that it's being occupied by who they said would occupy it on the lease. You know, if your lease says it's for 2 adults and 1 child, and you go in there and you see like 3 or 4 beds all over the place, you can address it right away before it becomes a problem. You have to test the smoke and carbon monoxide detectors every month. You have to check that the fire extinguishers are working. The seasonal tasks, check for water damage and leaks, especially after a rainy season. Inspect the roof after heavy snow, hail, or wind, and clean the gutters regularly. Trim trees that are near structures, power lines, or property lines. For your yearly task, you should examine shower caulking and grout between tiles to prevent mold. You should also have your plumber perform maintenance on the boiler and water heater every fall before the cold weather starts. You need to handle emergency maintenance promptly. Provide tenants with an emergency contact for repairs if they need to reach out to somebody right away. Some repairs do require immediate attention. Handle these issues as soon as possible. Broken furnace or heater, you got to fix that right away. Gas leak or the smell of gas, electrical issues, water leaks, clogged sewer lines, these are all things that you have to jump on right away. So you need to specify in the building who is the emergency contact person. We have a billboard in our building with all this information so that all the tenants can see it. Now let's address evictions and legal procedures. In some cases, eviction may be necessary. Yes, this is the downside of being a landlord, especially here in the city where we often find that tenants know much more about landlord-tenant relationships and the law better than you or I. But if you complete a thorough tenant screening process at the beginning, the likelihood of this happening is greatly reduced. Nevertheless, it's crucial to understand the legal process involved and adhere to it. We have a philosophy that it's nice to deposit those checks every month, which come in just like clockwork, and it's also dealing with an eviction is just part of the process. This is why when a building's financials are being calculated before you purchase the property, they only allow for about 80% of the rent to be counted. There's a contingency that they build in the very beginning that your apartment will not be occupied 100% of the year, because you might have tenants that have to move, and there's that downtime while you get the apartment ready for the next tenant. And also, if you have to evict somebody, there's a downtime there also, which you will not be collecting any rent for the building or that particular part. I would recommend that you maintain records of all communication with your tenants, especially if you think they're going to provide problems in the future. Since most of us text now, this is not difficult to do. Just keep a copy of all those texts on your device instead of deleting them. The main things to remember are the grounds for eviction. Familiarize with the legal grounds for evictions, such as non-payment of rent or violation of a lease term. Legal notices are also be required to serve on the tenants when necessary, following the proper legal procedures. So get somebody who's specialized in evictions or an attorney that works on evictions so that they can assist you in this matter. Yes, it's going to cost you, but like I said, you don't complain when you're collecting all those checks, so you should set aside a small budget in case you need to handle something like this in the future. The thing that I see with a lot of small landlords is that they're friends with the tenants, or they have a good relationship with them, and the first month that they don't pay, instead of starting the action then, they wait and they listen to the excuses that the tenant might present to them, and by the time they start the legal processes, it's been 6 months or more that the tenant has not paid their rent. So you're already 6 months behind before they even start the process. This is one reason why we never rent to friends or family. It's nothing personal, just business. Because if you have to evict somebody, you have to evict them, otherwise you're going to suffer. Manage a small investment building in Brooklyn and New York City can be a lucrative endeavor when you approach it correctly with knowledge and diligence. By understanding your legal obligations, tenant screening, property maintenance, and effective communication and the eviction process, you can navigate the challenges of being a landlord here while maintaining good tenant relations and a safe and profitable building. Keep in mind that keeping up to date with New York City's evolving rental laws is crucial, as seeking legal counsel when you need it. I love our small family buildings. They provide a great income for us, and we've been doing it a while, so we know what the challenges are, and if you do things correctly in the beginning, It just makes it easier as you go along. In New York City and other areas with a higher cost of living, it is challenging to find a great building with a lot of cash flow, but they're out there. The name of the game in this city with long-term rentals is appreciation, equity, and tax write-offs. So even if you find a building and you're only making, let's say, $500 or $1,000 after you've paid all your bills, that's still a great place to be in because your tenant is maintaining your building and you're still coming out ahead. I haven't sold any buildings that I can think of that haven't appreciated at least $30,000 to $50,000 per year since they were purchased. So the appreciation here is serious. If I were in the market right now, I'm not, because my husband doesn't want to have to maintain any more buildings. But if I was in the market right now, I would find a decent building in a lower income area where you will, let's face it, find better priced properties. And I would rent those apartments to Section 8 tenants. Just a suggestion. You know, Section 8 families are usually just decent people trying to pay their rent, trying to keep up with their bills. And because there are so few Section 8 apartments available in the city, once they do find one, they turn out to be really good tenants because they don't want to have to go through the process of moving their family all over again. So think about that, Section 8. Till the next time, don't forget to leave your comments below. See ya.